headlines of VTV News. National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ begins official visit to China. And significant progress made in public investment capital disbursement.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello there and welcome to this edition of VTV News, broadcast live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Fatman. Here's the top news of the hour. National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ, accompanied by a high-ranking delegation from Vietnam, arrived in Beijing on Sunday afternoon to commence a 6-day official visit to China. This visit was arranged at the invitation of Zhao Leiji, the chairman of the Standing Committee of the Chinese National People's Congress. As the first trip to China by National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ in his capacity, it also marks the first visit by a high-ranking Vietnamese leader since the announcement of a Vietnam-China community with a shared future. During his visit, the leading Vietnamese legislator will engage in meetings and discussions with senior Chinese leaders, focusing on measures to enhance bilateral relations as well as addressing major regional and global issues. During his working visit to the U.S., Deputy Prime Minister Lê Minh Khái engaged in a roundtable with nearly 30 leading U.S. enterprises. He emphasized the significance of the Vietnam-U.S. Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, which is projected to further stimulate U.S. investment in Vietnam. He also met with several top officials and representatives from various U.S. firms. These included the senior advisor to President Biden for international climate policy, the head of the White House Council of Economic Advisors, the Deputy CEO of the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, and the CEO of the Semiconductor Industry Association. He urged the U.S. to enhance cooperation with Vietnam in areas such as economics, trade, investment, and climate change. Additionally, he requested their support in developing infrastructure, renewable energy, and advancing science, technology, and innovation. In his meeting with UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohamed, the Deputy Prime Minister expressed his hopes for the UN to assist Vietnam in areas like financial mobilization, technology transfer, climate change response, water resource management, energy transition, as well as innovation and digital transformation. The southeastern region is a dynamic economic center, contributing 32% of Vietnam's GDP. However, the bottlenecks in linking regional transport infrastructure are hindering this area's growth rate. The ongoing situation of developing infrastructure projects in this region shows that the Southeast is in need of general and specific mechanisms to accelerate its economic development and promote regional linkages.
National Highway 13 connects Bình Dương with Ho Chi Minh City, and it frequently experiences prolonged traffic jams, especially in the section that passes through Ho Chi Minh City. While the city has not prioritized expanding Highway 13, Bình Dương is widening this road to 8 lanes. However, Bình Dương efforts are limited to the section passing through its province. This is one of many examples in the southeastern region where different localities have varying priorities for the same project.
We should establish a regional infrastructure investment fund. Once this fund is available, it will provide a mechanism to transfer budget money from one province to another for the implementation of construction projects.
This joint investment fund can enable one locality to pour money into another to implement a common infrastructure project. As a result, both localities can benefit from it, thereby solving the problem of utilizing resources and harmonizing differences in dynamics between locations.
The Southeast is implementing several key infrastructure projects in various localities, including Ring Road 3, Ring Road 4, the Biên Hòa Vũng Tàu Expressway, and Long Thành International Airport. However, the unique processes of each locality present challenges to the implementation of these shared projects. As such, special mechanisms are necessary to ensure the progress of these projects.
If we follow the steps according to regulations, it will take 28 months or more to secure sufficient construction materials.
In the near future, the specific mechanisms and policies stimulated in Resolution number 98, currently applied to Ho Chi Minh City, can be implemented in other southeastern provinces when executing common projects to optimize regional linkages for economic development.
The Prime Minister has recently issued official telegram number 24 emphasizing the acceleration of the allocation and disbursement of public investment capital in 2024. By the end of March, over $25 billion of public investment capital had been allocated by the ministries, exceeding 95% of the plan set by the Prime Minister. This timely capital allocation has significantly expedited the disbursement of public investment funds.
After more than a month of site clearance, the site was handed over to the contractor. The Tuyên Quang Hà Giang Expressway project is being rapidly accelerated. Tuyên Quang Province's public capital disbursement rate was the highest in the country.
We have maximized the use of machinery and human resources to accelerate the project's progress.
Our department has consulted with the local authority to allocate 100% of the capital to the contractors and investors. During the construction process, we closely monitor the site to promptly resolve any difficulties.
The implemented public investment capital is projected to reach nearly 14% of the capital plan in 2024, marking a 3.7% increase compared to the same period. This indicates an efficient promotion in the disbursement of public investment capital since the beginning of this year. This year, Vietnam has earmarked over $26.3 billion for public investment. If this capital source is fully dispersed, the country's GDP will increase by 0.3 percentage points.
This capital allocation also serves as an incentive for the state to further promote PPP investment, simultaneously attracting domestic and foreign investment inflows.
To achieve a minimum of 95% disbursement of public investment capital this year, obstacles need to be removed, policy mechanism improved, and site clearance emphasized. This process should prioritize identifying sources of investment, land origin, land prices, and raw material prices.
You're watching VTV News. On Sunday, Deputy Prime Minister Chen Hong-ha inspected the drought and saltwater intrusion response efforts in various Mekong Delta localities. He commended the localities' synchronized implementation of both construction and non-construction measures. The Deputy Prime Minister advised the localities to develop strategies that connect water sources across regions, in line with developments in drought and saltwater intrusion. He also urged them to limit groundwater exploitation and effectively transform the crop structure. Furthermore, he highlighted the necessity of relocating populations in conjunction with infrastructure improvements, ensuring people's livelihoods and productivity. The El Niño continues to cause little rainfall and prolonged hot weather. Recently, temperatures in the central province have risen to 38 to 40 degrees Celsius. Agricultural production is severely impacted, with the heat causing hundreds of hectares of crops to lose productivity, even resulting in total losses. Currently, balancing water resources is crucial for these regions.
In the north, rice fields are reaching the phase where irrigation is necessary. However, numerous pumping stations are encountering challenges. Despite the presence of a newly designed station, the river's water level has been below the minimum operating threshold for many years.
But there are times when the water level falls below 1 meter. If the power corporation does not discharge from the hydroelectric reservoirs, operation would become almost impossible.
According to the National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting, the dry season in 2024 will be hotter than usual. Although the drought in the Mekong Delta and Central Highlands will only occur in April, the dry period in the central region will last for an additional 3 to 4 months. Many irrigation reservoirs have recently seen water levels drop from 1 to 5 meters.
From April to June, El Niño transitions to neutral. From July to September, it changes to La Niña. This will lead to situations related to drought and saltwater intrusion in the central coastal provinces. Before the end of this winter-spring crop, the provinces need to rebalance their water sources. If they are insufficient, a switch to a different crop structure must be considered.
Over the past 2 years, farmers in Ninh Thuan province have significantly transitioned from rice to short-term crops, prioritizing plants that require less water.
Green beans take 2 months to harvest, but corn takes 4 months.
In the long term, it is essential to implement economical irrigation for perennial crops such as tea, coffee, and fruit trees, along with the solution of crop structure conversion.
Over 6 years have passed since the European Commission, or EC, issued a yellow card warning to Vietnam's seafood exports. This period has brought numerous challenges and a decline in seafood exports for Vietnam. However, positive changes have been observed in the 28 coastal localities and across the Vietnamese fishing industry. Vietnam is now progressing towards more sustainable and responsible fishing practices.
Chet's fishing boat had just docked at Hòn Rơ Port, Thanh Hoa Province, after a 20-day sea trip. When he came ashore, he immediately went to the Fisheries Inspection and Control Office to present his fishing log, which includes detailed information about his sea trip. This is a task that he and many other fishermen were unfamiliar with more than 6 years ago.
When going on a sea trip, I fully comply with the fishing regulations and keep the crew's monitoring equipment on the entire time.
The fishermen, at first, were a bit confused, but now they are committed to complying with the regulations.
Before every trip, authorities inspect the conditions of fishing vessels and remind the fishermen of the regulations for maritime exploitation. Over the past 6 years, instances of Vietnamese fishing vessels violating foreign waters have significantly decreased. The data from these vessels is now primarily digitized and monitored on the National Fisheries Database. Moreover, cruise monitoring equipment has been installed on 98% of offshore vessels.
Previously, the inspection of raw and imported materials through fishing ports was limited. However, now, all goods exported to the European market and other markets are fundamentally under control to ensure their legality.
Over the past 6 years, Vietnam's fisheries have undergone a remarkable transformation. Joint efforts between law enforcement and relevant units have been made to mitigate illegal fishing practices. Vietnam is striving not only to remove the IUU yellow card, but also to promote a sustainable and responsible fishery.
The Ho Chi Minh City International Film Festival 2024 opened in the Southern Metropolis on April the 6th. This 8-day festival features 3 main competition categories: Southeast Asian films, debut films, and short films. Several awards are up for grabs, including the Golden Star Award for Best Southeast Asian Film, Best Emerging Director, Best Short Film, and the Ho Chi Minh City Film Awards. In addition to the screenings of nearly 900 films from various countries, the festival offers a variety of sideline activities. Audiences can experience outdoor film screenings at a cine park and engage with directors and actors. The event has attracted over 200 filmmakers, directors, and actors from numerous countries and territories. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store, Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4go. See you again at 3 p.m. local time. Goodbye for now.